New York Times best-selling author Debbie Macomber is dyslexic. She didn't learn to read until she was 10 years old. But Debbie had a dream to become a writer. 9 #1 novels later, Debbie has far exceeded her dreams with movies and a TV series based on her books and starring Andie MacDowell.
There, you've now secured my legal services. Now anything you say cannot be divulged.
Well, what if I don't want to talk?
This month, the Hallmark Channel kicked off its 3rd season of Cedar Cove, starring Golden Globe nominee Andie MacDowell. The TV series is based on romance novels by best-selling author Debbie Macomber.
I never dreamed that I would have a TV series based on my stories.
Please welcome back to the 700 Club, Debbie Macomber. Debbie, it's so great to have you here. I think your story is such an encouraging one to people who have a dream in their hearts. You were a stay-at-home mom, you had 4 kids, you rented a typewriter when you first attempted writing, and here you are today with all this amazing success. You said yourself in that little video piece that we saw that you never dreamt it would come to this.
I never dreamed I'd publish a book. It was just that when I thought about being a writer, Terry, I throbbed with joy. But, you know, that happy anticipation, but it's so easy when you have that kind of background to stuff your dreams into the future, and I did.
You know, I think a lot of people do that. They say, well, I have this dream, but I can't probably ever really accomplish it. What motivated you to actually go to the typewriter, sit down, and start writing?
It was actually a death in our family. I had a cousin that I grew up with that I was very close to, and he died of leukemia, and it was as if God was saying to me, you know, do it now. There's a story I tell at writers' conferences, and it's so apropos. When I went to see him in the hospital the first time, I got lost. So I asked a doctor how to get from here to there, and he says, go down the corridor, take the first right, go all the way to the end of the hallway, and walk through those doors marked absolutely no admittance. So, you know, that's what we have to do when we're ready to follow our dreams. Walk through those doors.
And yet, even for people who have had more background than you in preparing for writing and you know, their dream has maybe already been in progress, it is such a season of rejection. I mean, you yourself went through 5 years, was it, of rejection?
I got rejected so fast the manuscripts hit me in the back of the head on the way home from the post office.
What was it that sustained you during that? I mean, here you are, you're doing something you don't think is really gonna fly for you. You get all these rejections, but you keep on keeping on.
It was that passion. You know, I really felt that this is what God wanted me to do, that He made me a storyteller. And, you know, so I gave it up to Him every single day. I would sit at the typewriter when I started in the morning and I said this prayer, I believe I am divinely guided. I believe God will make a way where there is no way.
Wow. So really, you called down heaven on your behalf.
I did.
What do you think has made your book so successful? I mean, I just finished reading Silver Linings, your newest one, and the books you really get into the lives of the characters in it. It's charming. What do you think has been the selling feature?
I think it's the fact that, first of all, I always pray every single time I get an idea. And then I ask God to guide me. And I have a criteria. When I have a plot premise, I have a criteria that I gauge it by. The idea, the premise of the novel, has to be relevant to my reader. It has to be provocative. I want them to think. It has to be told in the most entertaining way I can tell it. It has to be realistic. And it has to be, did I say entertaining?
Yes, you did, but they're all entertaining.
Okay, well.
What overall message do you want people to take away from Silver Linings? I just have to hold this up because this is the prettiest cover.
Isn't it beautiful?
I mean, I want to be there where this is. But talk about what you want people to take away from this story.
Well, this whole series, and this is the 4th book in the series, is that the whole idea came of a bed and breakfast from a widow, a young widow whose husband died in Afghanistan. And the first night she stays in the inn that she buys, her husband comes to her in a dreamlike state, and he says, you will heal here, and all who come will heal.
Wow.
And so it's the story of healing.
Talk a little bit about what's happened with the Hallmark Channel, because that's been an explosion and has created a great following for you.
Oh, it's just been amazing. And the fact is, I owe my entire movie career to a 21-year-old intern.
Wow.
Whose her task was to read books and decide which one would make the best movie. And she took it to the producer, Dan Wigatow, and he looked at it and says, "Oh, I don't know." And she says, "Well, read it and tell me what you think." And that was Mrs. Miracle, my first movie with Hallmark. And it was the most popular movie of the year and the third most popular movie ever.
And now the Cedar Cove series, right?
Yes.
What's happening with that?
Well, this is the third season, and I'm an executive producer, so I get to do. I have a.
Look at you.
I know. You know, the little girl who couldn't read. You know.
Yes, I love that.
So yeah, that has been just an amazing experience to be on the set. I actually am in the episode number 8 this year. I am Mrs. Carol on the set.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. You know, it's really hard to memorize your lines, so I'm going to tell you my first line. Yes.
You said it with such conviction.
Shot it 6 times.
So what's coming up this Christmas? Do you have something special for the holiday?
I do. I have a really fun romantic comedy called Dashing Through the Snow, and I credit my husband who inspired it because he hates to fly, and he says, "I just wish somebody would put me on a no-fly list." And so I thought, what if somebody accidentally got put on a no-fly list?
Yeah.
So it's also going to be a Hallmark movie.
Wonderful. We'll look for it. What are you currently writing? Are you willing to share?
Yes, I'm just doing the revisions on a book called A Girl's Guide to Moving On.
Wow. Already a bestseller just by the title, right?
Thank you.
That's interesting. I know we mentioned your dyslexia, and I just want to ask you this because I think there are so many things people struggle with in life. Has it impacted your ability to write? I mean, have you had to struggle because of that, or what impact did the dyslexia have on what you do?
Well, it does have a serious impact. Everything I write has to be proofread over and over again. My assistant, who's been with me, Renata, who's been with me 21 years, she says it's catchy because I will write a sentence and there will be words missing, but I see them in my mind. And there are certain words that are the same in my mind, just and much. I will interchange those.
Change those.
Yeah, yes, and other words too. But you learn to compensate. And I have learned that being dyslexic is really a gift because it gives me that storytelling ability. It gives me that creative bent.
That's part of the silver lining, right?
Yes, exactly.
Well,
beautiful segue.
Debbie Macomber's latest novel is called just that, Silver Linings. It's a charming book. It's a great read. It's available wherever books are sold. I know lots of you like to have a good read in the summertime. I think you would enjoy this. How wonderful to see you again and to hear your great story. God is good.
He is good, indeed.